Welcome to Those Guys Sports. It is your boy Mike, and this is my NBA weekly conversation. Last week, I think I talked about some Anthony Davis. I think I talked a little Trey Young. I talked a little Dame Lillard. This time, I'm gonna talk about the picture of Sabrina Ionescu behind me. I'm talking about WNBA All Star Weekend. I feel like I have a spiel. I wrote it all down in my trusted phone because you have to write down on your trusted phone what you're going to talk about. But before I get there, I feel like, when you do these podcasts or when you do weekly NBA podcasts, you just have so much you want to talk about, so much you want to share, so much things that you just want to kind of get off your chest. That's the whole point of a podcast. That's why there's so much player podcasts because a lot of these guys want to they want to control the narrative. They don't want someone else to control their narrative. They don't want someone else to be like, this is what he means, this is what she means. They want to get out, they want to be traded. No one wants that. People want to kind of share whatever opinions and thoughts that they have. So that's why sometimes, I understand why people have like many podcasts or why there's like 10,000 podcasts about relationship, about technology, about courthouses, about love, whatever. So just because you want to share some of your thoughts, and I feel like some of the thoughts I'm about to have with WNB, it kind of it coexists like these thoughts because of something I felt like years back. Like this is not new. My thoughts about WNBA have been my thoughts where I'm disappointed in so much of certain people, type of people, I should say, it's always been this way. It's always been this way, especially with WNBA. But I'll get to all that. I feel like I can have a spiel of 50 minutes, 60 minutes if you give me the enough time. I think I'm going to talk about it. But I was talking about player podcasts. I'll start with the first one. In Draymond Green's podcast, he brought Trey Young. Trey Young and Luka Doncic have been, I would say, like the to the hip of it all. I think in a lot of cases, the reason why that is, it's because of the fact that they got drafted in the same draft. Trey Young got traded for Luka Doncic. Luka was supposed to go to Atlanta, trade to Dallas, got traded for each other. So they're always going to be beside each other. Or people are always going to talk about them neck and neck and who's better, Trey or Luka. And I'm not the biggest Trey Young fan. Like I should start off by saying my Trey Young stock will never be high. I don't think he's a top 20 player. Probably at most top 25, top 30, but it's not a bad thing. Like the thing is, there's 400 guys. You're still part of the top 10% of the league. You're still one of the best players in the league. You're still a guy that many people want on their squad to hit the final shot. A top three player on a championship team more than likely is Trey Young. So there's really no diss. I'm just saying he's not my type of guy, really. Now, I was gonna come here and say that Trey Young and Luka Doncic, their stats are actually very similar. I was actually gonna come on here and be like, oh man, like they're actually very similar as players, Trey Young and Luka, their accomplishments, not similar in players, but their accomplishments of like they both made it to their conference finals. Luka did it, a few, I think it was the pandemic. Did he do it? No, no, no. He did it the year after the pandemic. No, yeah, because he did it when he faced the Phoenix Suns. And with Trey Young, they did it as well. So it makes you think like both these guys kind of made it pretty far. And they're guys and players that Trey Young faced a team in the Bucks that were just better. No, I don't think. Now that I think about Dallas, who did Dallas face in the conference finals? Was it the? Oh, let's check this. Let's. This is sometimes people will say this is bad podcasting, but this is the whole point of a podcast. And the Mavericks. Yeah, but I know I think they made it to the conference finals, just like Trey Young and the Atlanta Hawks. Now, when they made it, let's see, first conference finals, 2021, 2022. Yeah, isn't that not? Or is that Golden State? It depends on how you look at the. I think it is Golden State. Yeah, so Trey Young made it that far. Good squad, but a better squad won. Same with Trey Young, a better squad won. Trey Young's accomplishments was pretty good. He beat a team in like the he beat the Philadelphia 76ers, the team that pretty much, if it wasn't for Trey Young, they probably would have stopped Ben Simmons right now. It was Doc and Embiid that basically talked shit about Simmons because Simmons thought he was going to get blocked by Trae Young. Like, look at it like that. The Atlanta Hawks pretty much dismantled the Philadelphia Sixers as we know it, almost ruined the process, even though the process is technically Joel Embiid. But that whole thing of drafting a bunch of players to become a really good team, they had a guy in Ben Simmons, and they let him go, because of this whole Trae Young thing, because he didn't want to play. He complained about his back, said he's injured. He didn't want to play for Philadelphia 76ers because of that Trae Young series. When Joel Embiid wasn't the greatest player in that series either. He let Clint Capella do damage on him. Trae Young did that with a supporting cast. Bogdanovich was a good player during that. Um, Other than that, like it wasn't like you're really seeing anything star-studded from the Hawks. Same thing with Dallas. Not like everything was star-studded. Not like you were going home going like, wow, like Jalen Brunson really killed it for them. No, he did. Jalen Brunson, that's why he got that contract. But you weren't thinking that this team was gonna make it this far. Then beating a team like the Clippers, of course, before beating a team like the Suns, like there's Luka and the guys in Dallas, like Luka's a star, right? And Luka's better than Trae Young. But when you talk about accomplishments, I can see where Luka and Trae could be similar in the eyes of Trae Young. You know, what Trae Young, I should go to the point which where Trae Young said in Draymond Green's podcast was more like they're not as unsimilar as people try to make them out to be. They're not as different as you're trying to say they are. They kind of have the accomplishment. They're both all-stars. Now, Luka's a 5-time all-star. Trae's a 2-time all-star. You have some all-NBAs that Luka has that Trae Young doesn't have. Also, Luka was the rookie of the year. Trae Young doesn't have that. So when we talk about accolades, yes, Luka has more, right? More like individual accolades. When we talk about team success, neck and neck. That's where I can understand where Trae Young is coming from. They're neck and neck. Trae Young is also right. When he wins the title, including me, have to put more respect on his name. Because we don't. I think it's because many of us don't like the way he plays. We don't appreciate how he plays. So it's something that we're not the biggest fans of. So I think that's what it comes down to. It's the way Trae Young plays. Even though Luka, I've said it multiple times, Luka plays like a James Harden, and I don't think people are gonna want to play with James Harden. I think Luka is the hardest all-star player like to play with. He's the hardest guy to be on a team with because he wants the ball. He wants to dictate everything. It's not like the way LeBron did it. It's a lot like James Harden, where yes, he can make some of his teammates better, but is he providing the confidence? I think that's one thing like LeBron James does. I think when you're on a team with LeBron James, the confidence he provides you is like unmatched. Tim Duncan did the same thing. I think Steph Curry does that. When you're around a guy who makes you feel confident, it makes you want to try harder. One of the reasons why the Lakers are a team that people are talking about so much is because of LeBron James on the squad, who can make an Austin Reeves look good, who can make a Cam Reddish look good. He's making Taurean Prince signing look amazing in a lot of people's eyes. But if you look at someone else, you wouldn't potentially feel as the way you do. And with joining a team with Luka, you don't know if guys are going to, come across like they're really going to be difference makers. Now, when Christian Wood came, everyone's like, this would be Luka's like best pick and roll guy. This is a guy that's going to help Luka be a better player. Nothing really happened. Nothing came of that. Now Kyrie's on that spot. Kyrie is his own guy. Kyrie is a maestro. Kyrie can really play with anyone. We saw him do it with LeBron. Saw him do it with James Harden plus a Kevin Durant. So I believe Kyrie will do it. It's really up to Luka. It's up to Luka to give Kyrie the reins and be like, when Kyrie's hot, let Kyrie do his thing. Luka shouldn't stop all that. Now with Trae Young, I do think Trae Young holds the ball a lot. He's controlling the whole offense. He averages like 9 assists a game. He's a guy that he's led the league in assists. But when I look at those assists, I think someone labeled it the John Wall assist. That's how I kind of see it with Trae Young. It's the assist for the sake of being a six. It's because you've held the ball. You hold the ball like 90% of the game when you're on, and you're just passing it to the guy because you dribbled it so much that the defense is failing itself. It's going all over the place. They're not being content with their defense. They go man. All of a sudden they're switching everything. That's why Trae Young was good. Then he'll get it to the open guy. We'll have a spot open for the basket. He has Clint Capella. He has now, of course, he's Jonathan Murray, he has AJ Griffin in the corner. So he has a Hunter. So Trae Young has options, which is a good thing. As a point guard, that's their job to get like 10 plus assists a game. I just don't believe they're effective assists. I feel like some guys can have effective assists, like game changing assists. Where I think Trae Young and even Luka both want to have that game changing shot. They want to be the ones to get the crowd going. And sometimes that's not how you win championships to me. I think when the other guys are going, when you have a KCB with the Lakers hitting shots, when you have an Aaron Gordon, scoring 28 points a game, heck, when you have an Austin Reeves, Lonnie Walker all scoring 20, that's what makes players like Anthony Davis and LeBron become like, that's what everyone puts them in such a pedestal because of what they do. Can Luka do that with his teammates? That's what you have to wait and see. So when I think about the comparison of Trae Young and Luka, Luka's better. There's no question. Like I said, when you look at accomplishments of going to the playoffs, they're both neck and neck. So Trae Young is right. Individuals, Luka is just a better player. He is. Will Trae Young get more respect if he wins the title? Yeah. Is Trae Young a number one option? No. If you put Trae Young with a Joel Embiid type, that could be a special duo. Maybe you may not get a Joel Embiid type, but I think that's what Trae Young needs because he doesn't play no defense, not really a good defender at all. So you need an Embiid to play the post and do everything Embiid can do. I can see where Trae Young is coming from, and I think Draymond tried to be as nice as possible because he has these guys on his podcast. And I believe Trae Young was about to start a podcast. Like, so I'm telling you, I hope one day I can sit down with some of these people and talk to them and be honest with them, right? Because they'll be honest with me. Who the hell am I? They'll be like, "Bro, you came in dribble with your left hand." I cannot. I cannot dribble with my left hand. I'm not a professional basketball player. I'm not that great at my job right now. Like it's just sometimes you got to be honest with people, and it's okay. Trae Young is a good player. He's a good player, but he's not a top 10, not top 15. He isn't providing the confidence to the other guys as everyone would want. John Collins should be a perfect partner with the Trae Young, and that didn't work. Now, Jonathan Murray has signed. We're going to have to wait and see what that looks like going forward. Now, something I wanted to talk about, we just did a Luka versus Trae. Now that we do Luka versus Trae, we're going to talk about Team Canada, which that's where I'm from, Team Canada, and Team USA with this upcoming FIBA World Cup, which I am excited about because I know a lot of people are going to start talking about it. Both squads are about to be really good for this FIBA tournament. I think we all can say we're pretty excited. I'm gonna get the USA roster, which I can even see who's gonna start for them. Let's go 2023 FIBA roster. Hopefully give me the guys I want to see. Okay, perfect. Let's see the roster. Pablo Banchero from the Magic, Mikal Bridges from the Nets, Jalen Brunson, Knicks, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, Jaren Jackson Jr., Cam Johnson, Walker Kessler, Bobby Portis, and Austin Reeves. Shout out, you know what? Everyone knows Bobby Portis is, you can arguably say, like the worst player on this squad, but shout out to Bobby Portis. Honestly, he's on the squad. Like, shouts out to him for making it. Like, I think, like, I know some of these guys' dreams to make it. This team, I don't know what it's. The only two guys I can see making it to other teams, and maybe a third one, like a potential third one, is an Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, and then potentially a Walker Kessler. Those are three guys who I believe are the future of Team USA. I could see them on the team when they have a Jaylen Brown, a Jason Tatum, a John Morant, a Zion, like when they're fully like equipped, I can see all that stuff. So this team is good. You know, the starting unit, if it was up to me, like the argument is who you start over, Jalen Brunson or Tyrese Halliburton. I think for future wise, you go Tyrese, but if you want to really win, not that, like, I think they're probably neck and neck as players, but you probably go a Jalen Brunson. You go Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards easily at the two. Three is Mikal Bridges, four Brandon Ingram, and five Jaren Jackson Jr. I really think that Jaren Jackson Jr., the Brandon Ingram, Mikal Bridges, and Anthony Edwards are like everyone knows are the starters of the four guys. And still, you have a great bench because you're still gonna have Jalen Brunson, Bankero. The thing with this squad, yeah, it's not Starfield. There's nobody on the squad that you're like, oh, this team is theirs. Like, I think it's going to be the person that I would look at the most is probably Brandon Ingram. He has the most in his bag, so he's the one that you would probably expect is going to score the most and be their guy. Like, if there's any guy that's going to be the guy on this team, it's him, Anthony Edwards as well. Those are the two guys that you want to see. So like that Team USA squad is still good. It's still Team USA. Let's not forget that. But when it comes to FIBA, when it comes to teams like Spain, like Slovenia with Luca, Greece with Giannis. I'm not sure if he's playing. France is pretty good. Like there's guys. They're going to be on the squad. Now, of course, as a Canadian, I got to talk about the Canadian team. Now, with the Canadian team, the squad is some of these guys you guys may not know. I want to know them because I, of course, watch Canadian basketball all the time. Like Alexander, he plays for a team overseas. Nikhil Alexander Walker, Minnesota Timberwolves, RJ Barrett, Knicks, Trey Bell Haynes, also overseas. O'Shea Brissett, now with Boston, Dylan Brooks. Dort from Oklahoma City, Lou Dort, Zach Edey from Purdue. So he's the young guy. I'm curious what their plan is with him because the one thing the Canadian national team really needs, like I think they have wings, I think they have guards, but I think they really need a big man, and it sucks. I don't think they have a big man. I think the one thing probably Canadian sports, that they're probably trying to look for is that next big man. Zach Edey's good, but I'm not sure. Right now with this U.S. squad, you're okay, but if they have to, I think I'm not sure if Embiid's going to play for France this year, but if they were, that's a matchup. He's still like 19 or something, so it's going to be hard. Melvin Ejim, who I really like coming out of college. I really thought he was someone who I thought he's, like the way Lou Dort kind of came. I thought Melvin Ejim was gonna come kind of like that, like even be undrafted, be a guy that can like get on some NBA teams, be a nice like small forward, shooting guard, but the size of a power forward type of guy. Of course, you got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Corey Joseph, the vet, who like people don't know. The thing with the league, like I'm about to go on a spiel, but the thing with the league, all these guys can hoop. Like Corey Joseph was giving like 25, 30 points when he was playing for FIBA like 6 years ago. Like Corey Joseph was their guy. He was their main guy. This was the year I think he went to the Raptors. Like he was their guy. He was the one that you needed getting the clutch of buckets. Like I thought Corey Joseph was about to take over Tony Parker role in San Antonio. I was really excited about that. I thought it was going to be like a Corey Joseph, Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, like future big three. But just because it's the Spurs, like it was still going to work out kind of thing. So shouts out to Corey Joseph. I love Corey Joseph. I love that. I wish he was coming off the bench for the Raptors. And the thing is, he's such a good vet. Like he's probably gonna be a coach. I don't like Coach Joseph deserves a lot of respect. I should tweet at him and see if he'll ever do an interview with me. Like why not? Jamal Murray, Kelly Olynyk, Kevin Pangos, the shooter, Dwight Powell, Cassis Robertson. Oh, I didn't know I didn't know that one. Playing for the Scarborough Shooting Stars. I like that. I like that they did that. I think that you do it for two reasons. You do it because you want to show that the CBL, which is the Canadian Basketball League, you want to show that it's a thing because you have the Spain, you have Turkey, you have a bunch of leagues, France, a bunch of leagues that have pro like players playing. I I would love to see CBL just continue growing with more teams. I hope the Canadians, because I think it's up to Canada to make them feel important, and I hope we can. I hope we can just keep growing and growing the best way we can. Phil Scrub and Thomas Scrub, both also they're part of the CBL. Now, those two guys have been staples of the Canadian national team. I'm not sure. I think one of them will get more play than the other. But in saying that, those guys have been playing. And the thing is, and this is where like I get kind of annoyed at guys like Andrew Wiggins I know he probably has his own personal reasons why he enjoyed the team, but when he was on the team that last time, it meant a lot. I think even as a person watching, I'm like, that means a lot with Wiggins being the best guy. He's not the best Canadian anymore. It's funny enough, at one point he really was. When he's on that squad, he was the thing. If he was on this squad, you may still give it to Shea and Jamal as the guys you're gonna have at the end of the squad, but Wiggins can take him over at the top. That's what makes like Wiggins to me so special. The one thing I love about the Canadian national team has done, and what Rowan Barrett, which is RJ's dad, has done is told everyone they have a commitment. I love that Shay's like, I'm committed to playing. If he didn't want to play, he doesn't have to. I'm pretty sure they'll be like, it's okay. We know you're committed. If Jamal Murray just won a title, if he didn't want to play, they won't do it. I love the fact that Jamal, Dylan, and are also willing to play. They still have so much pride. It's crazy that the United States team didn't bring a actual squad. Like a squad. And like I said, the Jason Tatum's, the John Morant's, the Dames, like they still all like Steph, all these guys can still potentially play. But I know I've said it multiple times, the league is in a change, and this is a part of the change. And that's what's happening now. But yeah, like I love how much Canadians are on this squad. I like Canadians who play in the NBA, and they're still missing some. Like I said, Wiggins is not playing. Shaden Sharp is not playing. Shaden Sharp is from like London, like not London, England, London, Ontario. Like this guy is a spectacular talent. This guy has potential to be a number one option on the team. I think sky's the limit. I think him and Scoot are about to be something special in Portland. Give it about 3 to 5 years. I'm hoping he decides to play for this team when a Shea is about like 30 and Shaden Sharp is about 24-ish. Like this team could be something that can compete against the USA team. I'm really hoping more Canadians could come out as well uh, to do something. I love seeing it. Like I love that Dort's on. And when I look at this squad, and all I wanted to talk about is how do you compare them to the United States team? Now, if you're putting both squads together and you're doing a draft, I think Shea is probably the best player that you're picking. I think Shea is the one you're picking first. Now the rest could be all arguments. The rest of the arguments. You go Anthony Edwards. Like if you're drafting, go Anthony Edwards. Go Shea, Anthony Edwards, and then you gotta go probably Brandon Ingram, Tyrese Halliburton, and then you gotta go Jamal Murray, and then most likely a bunch of other Americans. But the thing is, Dylan Brooks is still on the squad. You still got Olynyk. Like what makes it different is that there's so much more talent in Canada than it was before. The big man situation, you still got Dwight Powell and Kelly Olynyk. And when it comes to FIBA, these guys are perfect for FIBA. Like Kelly Olynyk is perfect for FIBA. He's a center who can shoot threes. That's perfect. Um, FIBA, they can have some rim protection, but rim protection doesn't win. It's not going to win. That's why you see guys like Jokic, like these European bigs, can do it all. They can shoot, pass, dribble the ball. They can do a bunch of things, play some defense as well, depending on which European player you're talking about. But that's what I'm looking forward to. Will this American team probably beat Canada? Potentially, yeah, because overall you have 12 guys all playing the NBA, where you have in Team Canada, there's about like 8 of them that play for Canada. But who's gonna get the minutes? Who's gonna play crunch time? Well, let's say Dwight and Jaren Jackson Jr. are gonna have to go against each other. Of course, Jaren Jackson is better, but you got Shea and Jamal, you got Dort, you got Dylan Brooks, like you got like actual NBA players who play in the playoffs who can play minutes. Like you guys have guys like it's gonna run around Shea and Jamal. It's gonna be whatever we can do to get those two guys going. That's how it's gonna go. That team is really gonna run through those two guys, and I believe everyone else is gonna play some. I think defensively, this team's good, really good. I think they have some defensive guys in Dort and Dillon that only Mikal Bridges can match them in the United States team. And I think it's gonna be good. Like I said, the USA team is probably the better team. But when I look at this FIBA, like when I look at FIBA, a lot of these other teams will always win, especially because USA is not as dominant as it used to be. But what made USA dominant at one portion of time, it was the same players playing. And that's how you win. It has to be the same guys. It has to be like the Spain team is an amazing team. Spain has like 2 guys who are in the NBA, right? As their Juan Gomez brothers. Am I saying the last name? Juan Gomez, yeah. Bo Cruz, for those who may not know, like him and his bro are NBA players. I think they may have one extra guy, but they have so much other guys. When it was the Gasol and the two Gasol brothers, Ibaka, it was really just those three guys, and then everyone else. They had Rudy Fernandez, they had Sergio Lull, did which I think he's the bald one who's like that man's amazing. Of course, you had a young rookie Rubio. Rookie was older now. Like that Spain team had a bunch of guys who just grew up together. When a team grows up together, they're just better. They're just better. They know where everyone's going. They believe in each other more. All those things are factors. They're just factors, which helps. That's why, like I said, going back to what I said, I love the fact that Team Canada has told them, you guys are going to sign a 3 year, I think like 3 year, 3 year, 5 year contract that you're going to be committed to us. When we ask you to come, you come. That's it. That's good. That's what they need. Of course, I think they're missing like guys like Birch as well, like a big guy in Team Canada like Birch as well. But I like them. I like this team. I like what Team Canada is doing. I hope they can finish. If they finish top three, I think they'll make it to the Olympics. Um, yeah, man. I'm looking for. I think it's in August. This tournament. Of course, you don't want no one to get hurt. Jamal just played, so probably this coming season there'll be a lot of Jamal rest days, things like that. Because Jamal just won a title, NBA title, so probably gonna rest Jamal as much as they can. But this team's gonna be good. I'm actually really looking forward to this team, Canada. I keep saying I can't wait for like Wiggins to stop being the way he's acting and come join. I don't know why he doesn't want to join. Like he never really joined. Only that 1 year he joined where they were so close and they just ended up losing. Because if they won that, they wouldn't have to come here. But I can't wait for these guys to keep going because I think the two guys that look always committed is Jamal and Shea. And I love the fact that those two are committed. Arguably our best Canadian players. They're representing Canada. It's only gonna make them look better. I hope Wiggins will one day do as well. It's something that I'm extra excited about when it comes to them. So it's something I would really want to see going forward with them. I have to pause for a second. Thought something was at the window. But yeah, the next topic I want to have was about LeBron. I'm about to go into this WNBA speech so quickly, but it was about LeBron. LeBron changed his jersey from six because six was Bill Russell. Most people stopped wearing it in honoring of him, and he's now gonna go to the 2-3. I think he's also doing it to make some like news. I think sometimes everyone kind of says about LeBron when it's boring and there's no news. LeBron comes out of nowhere and is like, hey, look at me. So it looks like that could be the case with LeBron. Who knows? I don't know. Shout out to LeBron. That's my guy. So LeBron, jump on the podcast. Yeah, I'll tell you about yourself too. You tell me about me, and like let's just have an honest conversation about life. But that's LeBron's the goat, so it doesn't really matter. But now it's time for me to talk about this. Talk about Sabrina. Talk about AJ Wilson. Talk about Breonna Stewart, talk about Brittany Griner, talk about all of them. Now, it's funny, I always tell myself I'm going to go on a long speech, and then I start talking about other topics, then I kind of go like, what? This may not be a long speech anymore. Maybe a 5 minute speech, maybe a 1 minute. But let's go to it. The WNBA had their All-Star weekend this week. It was nice to watch. It was fun. I loved it. I did wish that the actual All-Star game, Team Wilson versus Team Stewart, I do wish that it was more competitive at the end. At one point, they just weren't playing defense, but I like the fact that they kind of just did a little bit what the men do. Like the men sometimes don't play no defense. Will they have to add the Elam ending at the end? Probably they should have the Elam ending. Because the one thing you don't want to do is play the way you're playing, because then people will get uninterested quicker, and you want people to be consistently interested in the product. And I'm interested in the product. You want people to be interested in the product. So overall, it was a fun weekend. We had a 3 point historic night from Sabrina from New York Liberty. She only missed two shots. Like she only missed two shots. She missed two shots. She got 37 points, the most of any NBA or WNBA ever. She had the most. I'm pretty sure they're going to do something for her next year's All-Star weekend. Because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you not say the winner of that has to compete against her? But she was on a hot streak. Who knows if that will happen again? You also don't want to see, let's say she gets crushed. You don't want to have that happen because that'll be potentially bad reputation for the WNBA. So you really don't want that. But shouts out to her. She killed it. Like absolutely killed it. Now my issue with that, like I probably have like three issues. I don't know. This is the issue I have. This was happening at like 2 p.m. Like 3 p.m. I think was during her time of shooting the threes. Why is it happening at 3 p.m.? Like why are we like on a Friday? 3 p.m. on a Friday. What are we doing? This is All-Star weekend. I don't know if ABC, ESPN had a bunch of other things going on. It really doesn't matter. You talk about, equality. You talk about inclusion. You talk about wanting women to be seen in the same light as men, but you put them at 3 p.m. You put like the All-Star this part like that late. I mean that early. Who is watching? Who is watching? They'll probably have high views, probably most views they'll have because they've been killing it this year with their viewership. It's increased all across the board, all those things. I give you that. But who is watching at 3 p.m.? I saw more Twitter people complain about this too. What's going on? Was there nowhere that you could have done this? You decided that the best time was 3 p.m. on a Friday, not a long weekend. Not even though there's a long weekend, not even though it's July 4th or something. 3 p.m. on a Friday. NBA games don't go that time. But you did an all-star game at that time where you have your best players doing random stuff like shooting the three, skills competition. You have all those things. And you did at 3 p.m. Ridiculous to me. That's not right. There's nothing about that would make it right to me. Shout out to Sabrina. Shout out to the Las Vegas Aces. I believe they won the skills challenge. It was Plum and Chelsea Gray. I had to because Kelsey and Chelsea realized. But shout out to them for winning the skills competition. Shout out to Sabrina. She like she had an historic shooting night. Historic. Like this is we may never see that in the NBA. Like we may not see Steph do that. Steph or Clay. She did it. And we had to talk about it more on Twitter than it was talked about anywhere else. I feel like First Take, First Things First, Undisputed is on hiatus. All these places should be talking about this All-Star weekend and what she did. It shouldn't be the second segment. It shouldn't be the third segment. Heck, it shouldn't be the last. It should be the number one block. Now, will producers do that? No, they won't do that. That's not right. They won't do that. But it should be. This should be the number one thing talked about, but it will not be. And that's unfortunate because shouts out to Sabrina, shouts out to all those women who did their thing. More should have came out of it. I'm disappointed. I hate it. I love watching the game. I've watched so much WNBA finals and truly believe, especially during that Warriors run, that WNBA finals here were way better than anything they put out. The Minnesota Lynx and Sparks game 5, it would have been, when the Sparks won, is one of the best games I've ever watched in my life. It's a top 3 game of all time. If you have the opportunity to watch it, you watch that game. It was spectacular. You want to talk about stars putting on a show, and a game 5, that was it. Even the whole series was one of the best series I've ever watched in my life. Like I feel like they consistently like this year, it's the way it's looking, it's gonna be the Liberty versus the Aces. The Aces are the best team. Aces could sweep because there's just so much talent on that team. They literally have an incredible amount of talent on that team. But maybe go against the Liberty, who once again have a crazy amount of talent. That's gonna be hopefully it's a 5-game series. That could be one of the best like WNBA series of all time. That should be like explored and expressed, and everyone should be talking about it. The other gripe I had, and the All-Star game, I saw it, so I'm more happier. But I wanted to see more of the celebrities here. And I mean like the NBA celebrities. I didn't see a lot. Now the All-Star game, I saw KD was there. Like you had KD, a top a top 15 player of all time, a guy who everyone talks about the shoes. He's just a star. Like KD is a star, and he was there. So shouts out to him for being there. He was with Mike James, I think it's his best friend. But they're there together. DeMar brought his kids, amazing. I think Anthony Davis was there as well, which is good. You had Dwayne Wade, Gabrielle Union there. Like that's what should be happening, right? Now, Dwayne Wade is I just realized he's become a partial owner. DeMar goes to games all the time, and having KD is amazing. But that's how it should be. Because quite frankly, these women go to NBA games all the time. They go to All-Star Weekend all the time. They're there all the time supporting the men. So the men should be doing the same thing. I love this guy. I just talked about him. LeBron, where are you? Support these women. What are we talking about? Support them. Every NBA player should be there. It should be all about them. I saw Scoot Henderson was there too. Like it should be about these women. When it comes All-Star Weekend, everyone should be out there supporting them. Every celebrity should be there. Kevin Hart should be there. Drake should be there. I know he's on concert, but like this is what I'm talking about. This is it bothers me because they're so talented. The league's so talented. You had a number one overall pick in 2020 or 2019 was not even in the league anymore. It's not even in the league because the league there's only so much people that can put on a squad. They're fighting for charter flights right now because Brittany Griner keeps getting yelled at like a commercial flight. So I don't know. I feel like there needs to be more. But I'm glad that we saw DeMar and Kevin Durant there because that's what they need to see. They need to have more NBA players come to these games, watch these games. A quick special shout out to Brittany Griner, who, you can see that she went through a lot, and it's just good that she's back in the States with her friends and family, her teammates, her colleagues. That's special to see as a whole. So shout outs to Brittany Griner. The All-Star game was good. Jewel Lloyd, who is averaging the most points in league history, who's going on a tear offensively. She won All-Star MVP as she should. But I feel like they weren't watching the score. At one point, Kelsey Plum had the ability to like hit a 3 or a 4 because they're shooting fours in that game and she had the ability to like get back her record that she just got like last year. Like she had the ability to do it. I felt like that would have been kind of more dramatic at the end, but I think at one point I think everyone was kind of like a little lazier. They stopped really caring at one point, but it was a fun game as a whole. Overall, it was fun to watch. Anytime I get a chance to watch WNBA, I'm gonna watch it. I think every man should. If you love basketball, you're gonna watch basketball. This whole thing of they can't dunk or something like that, that's idiotic, stupid. These women are talented, and there's so much more coming down the pipeline too. You have Paige Beckers, who was like Dan Taurasi even in her freshman year in UConn. Shout out to the Canadian Aaliyah Edwards because I'm gonna always shout out Canadians. I think she'll probably be a top like 12, 15 player coming. I think this is her draft year coming next year. So shout out to her. One thing they should probably do as well is it shouldn't be a full. I think they may have to play a full 4 years. They should play like one or two. I think even in NCAA they should do 2 years too. Don't think the one and done is fine, but I also think like in the real world you leave high school, you can go work right away. So like that's where I'm a little conflicted. But all in all, the women here played. I have talked about the gripe that I've had for years when it comes to the NBA. As much as I want men to watch it, and I haven't had gone viral or anything, but I hope this will go viral. Anything goes viral, I hope this goes viral. I think men should watch as much. But what would make the WNBA even more special is if the people that most women watch, like I want to see Kim Kardashian come and watch these games. I want Kim Kardashian to come watch it. I want Kim Kardashian to talk about Sabrina and be like, "Do you see what Sabrina did? Why? Because it brings notoriety. Like it brings people watching. Like I'm sorry, I want more people to watch because the more people that watch this game, the more money that they can make. Then they may not be on an equal playing field, but at least they're in the playing. At least they're there. At least people are watching them. And when AJ Wilson is one of the best players in the league And now I see the commercials, I see the people talking about it. Like I think they deserve it, you know. And I think that it's just I personally think it's special when there's more people. But I call out the Kim Kardashians and those celebrities. Where's Nicki Minaj? Right, I'm just naming names now, but like honestly, she don't go nowhere. Well, I see her at some Nets games. Where's Beyonce? Where's Jay-Z? Like we need these celebrities to support. Because if you want to talk about supporting, this is supporting. Go watch the game. Even if you don't care, but you know by you being there, it's gonna build more viewership in the next coming years. You do it. You do what's best for the league. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say. The best thing for this league is when there's more people supporting it, and I think they deserve to have as much people supporting as possible. Of course, I love the fact that KD, Demar, Anthony Davis, Dwayne, Scoot, all there too. But I'm calling out like all those other women. Heck, where's Oprah? Oprah, come and watch a game. Fred, where's Hillary Clinton? Like, watch a game. Where's the vice president? Watch Kamala Harris. Watch a game. All these people should be watching. Come to a game. Brock comes. Yeah, there's mass security, but at least he comes. It brings more people watching the game. And that's all I want to see. And this is not just with WNBA. This is any women's sport. We want to support women. Support them. Support them fully. That's just my take. Man. That's just my take. Uh, make sure you guys watch other videos, like and subscribe. This is your boy Mike, and I'm gonna talk to you soon. I'm gonna end this video just saying support the game. That's all.